Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is coming very, very soon, and I cannot stop thinking about it. Like, at all. So I'm just trying to get this out there before the next direct shatters my hopes and dreams, like, completely. These are my own roster predictions. Now, I'll admit, this is very hopeful. This is really more like what I want, rather than what I expect. Because, let's be real here, no one can accurately predict what Sakurai's going to do. The man is a mystery. I've been working on these ever since this game was announced way back in March, and every single character announcement, no joke, every single one, has made me completely rethink it all. Like, entirely. I keep noticing different things about each reveal that causes me to go back to the drawing board. I've actually been meaning to make this video for like 6 months, but I keep changing my stance. So here it is as it is right now, but all this is subject to change in the next couple of months. We're going to start with the completely new characters, echoes at the end, and like, seeing as I'm pretty sure this game will get a decent amount of DLC over the course of the next couple of years, I'm going to list a couple of characters that I think will only be possible as DLC. But all of the main characters are also very likely to be just DLC. Because I don't think there are that many more to reveal. Maybe 2 or 3 at most. I think we're very close to the end. Let's get started with number 69. Okay. 69 is Nihilego. Let's start with an easy one. A Pokemon is very likely to be a guarantee. There's always a Pokemon from the latest generation. I see a lot of people throwing around Incineroar, Decidueye, and like less often Tapu Koko and Lycanroc. I'm going to be a little contrarian here. I'm going to throw out a less popular but equally reasonable choice with Nihilego. Easily the face of the Ultra Beasts. Maybe tied with Poipole since Ultra, but I mean, Ultimate was started development in like 2016, so Poipole and Naganadel do not have any sort of chance. Maybe it's a Pokeball, but I digress. Nihilego was the first Ultra Beast revealed and actually serves a purpose in the plot of the games. And with these beasties being a major new mechanic, that kind of defines the 7th generation. It seems like a natural pick to me. Also, I think Nihilego's cute, so sue me. Could be a very unique fighter, and even utilize the Lusamine transformation in its Final Smash somehow. The only thing going against it is that Pokemon in Smash Bros. Typically have a big presence in the anime, but like, looking at the Alolan native Pokemon currently in the anime, none of them feel like Smash Bros. Material to me. At least none of the ones that haven't already confirmed to be Pokeballs, like Mimikyu. So Nihilego. Number 70 is Elma. Xenoblade has kind of seen an exponential gain in popularity ever since Shulk really felt his way into for Wii U and 3DS. 2 critically acclaimed games that have each sold more than the last. There's an argument to make that Rex is more recent and relevant, but since this game is still about a year and a half away from release when the roster was being finalized, Elma, whose game had come out a year prior, seemed like the natural pick. Don't worry, we'll talk about Rex later. Elma has a lot going for her, with the potential for a very unique moveset role evolving around swapping between melee and range attacks, and the obvious scale Final Smash. It also might give us more hope to see her story continued. Seriously, Monolith, please make Xenoblade Chronicles X2. One more Xenoblade character just feels inevitable. Number 71 is Bandana D. There really isn't a lot to say about the D that hasn't already been said. Like, sure, the little dude maybe isn't as iconic as a lot of popular picks, but dang it, he's always there for his friends. He's the 4th Kirby character, if anybody is. Nobody fits better. Kirby just feels like a 4-character series to me. It feels weird that Fire Emblem has more than Kirby? Is that weird to anybody else? I don't know. Number 72 is Dylan from Dylan's Rolling Western. Now, that game might not have shattered records or been a major hit, but I think it's one of the more interesting experimental IPs from the 3DS. Now, it's a smaller budget title, but it's still got 2 sequels, so somebody must be playing it. Like, I played the first one, and I had a lot of fun. I still plan on getting around to the 2nd and 3rd eventually, but like, I kind of got stuck in the first one because I got it to a level that was really hard and I don't have enough money to finish it. But he feels like tailor-made for Smash Bros. He's got like that roll, that claw attack, that dig. There's so many different like moves he can do. It just seems like it'd be really easy to come up with a moveset for him. I mean, he got it as an assist trophy last time, and like we all know what happened to Little Mac. 73 is Monita. This game seriously still needs a completely unexpected joke character. At least one. Since they're usually based on old dead game series or specific hardware or peripheral, I'm going with Monita, your guide to Nintendo Land. Sure, the Wii U was kind of a failure for the most part, but it's not like Nintendo to forget their history, even the less glamorous parts. I mean, there's the Virtual Boy, but like, that was the Virtual Boy, it's to be expected. Monita can draw from all different Nintendo Land minigames, and sort of make her the ultimate Smash Bros. Character, someone who kind of represents Nintendo itself and its history. She's not, like, super likely, and this is 100% wishful thinking on my part. I just like her. So, like, that's about it for actually, like, reasonable likely predictions. But I do want to throw out some of my borderline impossible hopes. And maybe I can even get some of you to rally for them with me. And if it turns out we get another ballot somewhere down the line, we may have a shot. Number 74 is Stylist. The Stylist Effie series is pretty weird. It looks like a $30 dress-up game for girls you might find on some shady Flash game website, or Newgrounds. But it actually has like a real story to it, and like quirky and fun dialogue, and surprisingly high production values. The latest game even had like full-on music videos with lyrical songs in both English and Japanese. It was really cool. I wouldn't expect any less from a Nintendo-published game. I've gotten very into it like really recently, and I love every second of it. It's had 4 entries since 2008, including one in 2017 and one in 2016. So it's like really relevant right now, and would have been relevant when Sakurai was developing the roster. I know she's not likely to ever make it in because of how obscure and niche a series it is, and it's not even one with a focus on fighting, but it is a real part of the Nintendo family, and I think a character that fights with clothes, makeup, and accessories would be a lot of fun. Number 75 is Diver. Endless Ocean was one of those weird Wii games that appeals mostly to the casual audience, but it was actually really interesting. The player takes control of a scuba diver and explores the ocean, and also there's like an actual story here. So my pitch is Diver for Smash Bros. I just think it might be another really unique fighter like the Stylist, only they use diving equipment and like actual sea critters to fight. Maybe the up special is like a whale blowing a big spout of water out of its blowhole that pushes our hero upward and damages anybody below them. And that's it. I really do think that 75 is the perfect number to end on due to how even it is. I mean, yeah, it's odd, but like 5. 5 is a very uniform number. Now, I know you can probably guess who the last 2 are, who I know are only going to have a chance at DLC due to how recent they are. But they also have a very good chance as DLC due to how popular they are. It's Springman, because ARMS is a fresh new fighting game. Well, my favorites are actually Lollipop and Helix. Springman is the clear face of the franchise, and he would, of course, be the one most likely to get into Smash Bros. I think we all already know his pros and cons by now, but I just want to say I'd like to see Springtron get the ALF treatment for him. Or even just the Hoodie Mac treatment. Just one Springtron all. That's all I ask. And then we got Rex and Pyra. Everything I said about Elma applies to them other than moveset thing, so there's different, but it would focus on, working together or whatever. I just like Xenoblade. A lot of people passed over Sushi Striker: The Way of Sushido, released earlier this year for the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo 3DS. I wasn't one of those people. I thought it was a really high-quality game with simple but addicting gameplay, and probably the most bonkers story in any video game I've ever played. Unfortunately, a lot of people seem to disagree, and I don't think it's sold very well at all. That being said, I think our main character, Musashi, which, by the way, is an anagram for Masushi, but I don't think that's relevant or intentional. It fits into Smash Bros. Pretty darn well. However, this series looks like it's going to be one of those one-and-done deals that gets mostly forgotten by the next generation, only remembered by its cult following. Well, you're in good company, Sushi Striker. Like, Elite Beat Agents, codename Steam. Seriously, this game didn't sell too well and has been steadily going down in price. I've seen the Switch version for around $30 and the 3DS one for under $20. If you're curious, now is a great time to give it a shot. This is not a paid advertisement, I just really like this game. And there you have it. Those are the characters that I want most in Smash Bros. But we're not done yet. Oh no. You see, Echo Fighters are a thing. So let's take a look in here for potential echoes and see how I would change them up to be unique. 2E. Funky Kong. Funky already has the same basic build as DK, and it's not like any of his moves are particularly donkey-ish. They could mostly work for Funky. The only change I can think of off the top of my head is replacing DK's up special with Funky's surfboard, like in the new Funky mode in the switchboard of Tropical Freeze. Of course, since Funky was rarely playable until now, it seems like his big break came too late to make it into the base game. But if they do DLC Echoes, I think he's got a real shot. 7E. Slippy Toad. There's not a lot to say here. I just think if we were to get another Star Fox character, Slippy would be cool and easy to implement. Kind of another variant on the Fox moveset, so like Falco and Wolf, but like maybe slower and floatier, and also like clumsy. I feel like it'd like trip and stuff. That'd be funny. 8E. Meryl. I know this might seem weird to a lot of people, but this is something I wish had been in Melee. Meryl would have been so much cooler as a Pika clone than Pichu. The way I see this is actually like a cross between Pikachu and Squirtle, with most of Pikachu's animations and moves, but more like Squirtle's properties. So like Thunder Jolt is more like a bubble, and Thunder is more of a waterfall. Skull Bash and Quick Attack can remain mostly the same, I think. I really don't see this thing happening. It's just fun to think about. I feel like Meryl was really big in the second generation, but whatever. 10E. Ninten. I'll admit I do not know much about Mother, but I am sure that Ninten could work as an echo of Ness. Just don't ask me exactly how he'd be different. 11E. Any F-Zero pilot. They're all interchangeable, honestly. I know a lot of people want Black Shadow, but I think that's just because he's like dark and edgy, and people want him to take Ganondorf's moveset. But that doesn't make sense to me because the reason Ganondorf hasn't changed drastically isn't because they just really like his moveset and don't have anyone else to give it to. I don't know. Like, at best you'd wind up with 2 Ganons. Whatever. 14E is Dry Bowser. Just a real simple one. Make Bowser lighter and floatier to emphasize that he has no flesh no more. Maybe if some of his attacks make parts of his body fall off, I don't know. 16E. Impa. You know, Impa. Not like the old hag Impa, but the cool badass Skyward Sword Hyrule Warriors Impa. Like, Impa taught Zelda how to be chic, so I feel like they'd both share a lot of attacks. It just seems natural. 31E. Naked Snake / Big Boss. I don't know which name they'd call him. Probably Big Boss to make it less confusing to people who haven't played Metal Gear. But like everything about Metal Gear is confusing even to people who have played Metal Gear. Snake's already literally a clone of Big Boss, so why not make Big Boss a clone of Snake? Maybe kind of heavy or slower because he's older? His weapons are old school variations on Snake's? Whatever, I mean, he's from the 60s. 36E. Dixie Kong. Ideally, I'd want Dixie to be her own unique character, but K. Rool makes that seem a little unlikely. Really, I think they'd only have to alter her neutral and up special. Like, yeah, she doesn't have a tail, but her hair is prehensile, so I think we can work around that. 40E. Louie. The screenshots from Olimar's page on the website appear to indicate that Alph is back to costume status, unless this is the long con, but that doesn't seem too likely. So, I'm going to go out on a limb and say Louie from Pikmin 2 is the next most likely Olimar Echo candidate. Weirdly enough, Sakurai did express that he had ideas on how to make Alph different, like with Rock Pikmin and whatever. So, I would think he would hit the Echo list pretty quickly, but weird. 56E. Celica. We've already got Chrom, and I'm sure Sakurai is aware that people are kind of sick of the Fire Emblem characters in Smash Bros., especially since it's not quite as big as some games that have even fewer characters. But despite that, I still do think there's a chance that we'll see another one. The protagonist of Three Houses doesn't seem likely to me since that game is still a ways away, so it falls back to the most recent character, the protagonist of Shadows of Valentia. Fire Emblem Echoes. Echoes! I know there's like a zero chance of that intentionally being a hint, but my point is this game had two main protagonists, Alm and Celica, and Alm would probably just end up being more like a fifth Marth, so I want to go with Celica because she uses both swordplay and magic, just like Robin. So a Robin Echo. 60E. Ken. Listen, I don't know a lot about Street Fighter, but I do know Ken was literally the first Echo fighter in a fighting game, so it just seems fitting. Everyone else was saying this, and there was even that possible leak. It could be fake still, who knows? I'm the furthest thing from an expert, so I look at all quote-unquote leaks with optimistic skepticism. 63E. Jean. The only other Umber witch still around these days. Bayonetta had an alt based on her last time. That's all I got. But Bayonetta is big lately with the third game in development. I'm not saying that Jean would be added solely based on promotion, but I'm just saying that proves Bayonetta is still very much a live series that deserves our attention. 64E. Octoling. Yeah, that's it. Simple weapon substitution, change the hair up, and boom, you got an Octo. It's simple, and since Octo expansion, they're almost as much a part of the game as the Inklings are. I could see them more likely being DLC than in the full game, mainly due to the whole Octo expansion being a very recent thing. And then we got 76E, Ribbon Girl. She's just the next most iconic ARMS character. Just the next most iconic ARMS character. Just a variant on Springman's moveset. Make her definitely lighter. Give her an extra jump for sure. 77E, Addam and Mythra. The Torna DLC has just come out, but it, like the Octo expansion, adds a whole new set of characters into the spotlight and makes them almost as important as iconic as the main cast of the full game, including the Aegis's previous driver, Addam. Now, Addam, along with Mythra, do share some similarities with Rex and Pyra, enough that I think they could work as an Echo. The biggest problem I can see is that Addam is a lot taller than Rex, but if they can make it work with Young and Toon Link, I think Addam has a chance. And that's all I got. Like, looking back, that's actually way more Echoes than I think are likely. So maybe only like 4 or 5 of these, but which of them it'll be is anybody's guess. Who do you think is likely for Smash Bros? I know, before you say it, Skull Kid, Banjo-Kazooie, Gino, Isaac, Waluigi. I don't agree with any of those, personally. I have my own reasons, but I think it's mostly that none of them are characters I care about at all. And getting into Smash Bros. Would be kind of disappointing. Except for Waluigi. I love Waluigi a lot. Don't get me wrong. He's just an assist trophy. So, he's not happening this time. But don't hate me because I don't like your favorite character. But even if you do, throw it on the comments and I will dislike it. I mean, don't throw me negative comments, please. Just like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me who you want. Maybe we'll talk about it again someday. That's all I got. This is the Real Agent Goldfish, signing off.